get the time for the hate and the bad energy. Got my mind on my money. Make you dance like broccoli. Steady green like broccoli. Steady on my grind, oh yeah, what they want telling me. Could deny my fantasy.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Kristen, and today we will be talking about how I became a registered dental hygienist here in Ontario, Canada. If you are a first-time viewer, welcome. My name is Kristen. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and join the family, of course. And if you're returning, thank you so much for watching again. I don't want this to be a super long video, so let's just dive in. I do have my iPad here. I wrote just some notes, so if you see me looking down, that's probably why. Also, just a quick disclaimer, I know the photos are very uneven. I tried my best. I'm gonna fix them eventually, just not right now. As well, girl, we got a visitor. Look at this mountain on my forehead, but it's okay. Also, if you guys like these type of sit down videos, I'm down to do more, so let me know what you want to hear, especially if you have any questions, just leave them down below, and we'll do like a whole other video if you'd like to know more information. Okay, so I think we should start out with just a little bit of background about me. I am the middle child of 5, and I was actually in my immediate family, so my younger brother, my younger sister, I was the first to graduate high school. So I graduated high school, grew up in Hamilton, Ontario, so I've always just been in Ontario. From there in high school, there was a course that we were able to do co-op. So I did co-op in a dental office. Co-op is kind of like if you want to try out a career, just shadow really. You're able to do that in high school and then you get your grade, all that kind of good stuff. So I ended up co-oping at a dental office in a mall. At that office, I didn't do anything. They didn't let me do anything. I wasn't able to like sit in on any procedures or anything like that. I was just able to, they just allowed me to file charts and open their mail. So it wasn't great exposure to the dental field, but I still knew I wanted to do something within the healthcare field. I loved going to dental visits and all that kind of stuff. So I truly enjoyed the field through just really my dental visits, if that makes any sense. So from there, I graduated high school and I wasn't necessarily ready for the real world. I decided that I wanted to do like grade 13. Didn't end up actually doing grade 13, but I ended up working at Walmart at the time for this year. So I worked at Walmart, I saved my money and all that kind of good stuff, and then I ended up applying to a couple different dental courses through like the public college system, if that makes any sense. So obviously you have private post-secondary schools and then you have public. So public would be, for if you're familiar with like Ontario, that would be George Brown, Niagara College, etc., etc. So I ended up applying to George Brown for their hygiene program. I got waitlisted, and then I also applied for the Niagara College hygiene program, and I also got waitlisted. But I got into Niagara College's dental assisting program. So for me, I was kind of like, whatever, I'm in the dental field, this is perfect, I will go for it. Sorry if you hear the crunching. My cat is deciding to eat right now. Cleo, now is not the time. Now is not the time to eat, girl. Thank you. I was very excited because, you know, I'm the first in my immediate family to go to college. This is post-secondary, this is a huge deal. I saved my money from Walmart. I ended up moving out there. So Niagara College is maybe about 45-ish minutes from where I lived, but I didn't want to commute. I knew that for a fact. So I decided to move out there. Honestly, it was really hard just adjusting to life away from home, making sure that I fed myself, making sure, you know, I did my laundry, made sure my homework was done, all that kind of stuff. But what made it especially hard was the fact that I only came with the money that I worked for. And I was waiting for my OSAP to kick in. So OSAP is like our government student loan funding, waiting for that to kick in. So I wasn't necessarily able to buy like my textbooks and all that kind of stuff. Like the money that I basically saved during that year was to make sure I had food, rent, etc., etc. I started school, no books, girl. But there was a girl in school that ended up dropping out, so she let me borrow her books in hopes that, you know, I would get my OSAP in time, and then I was able to give her the money for the books once I got my OSAP. Time went on, and she wasn't seeing payment for these books, obviously, because I didn't get my OSAP, all that kind of good stuff, which I'm not hating on her or anything. It was fair, but she ended up taking those books back. I had no books, girl. I was adjusting to life. Like, I was down and out, but I pushed through anyways. I went to the library. They had books there. I had friends that helped me. So I want to say about midterm time came around and we had to do our reviews. So kind of think of it as a round table, and we had the teachers on one side and then you were obviously on the other end of the table. They had your grades and all that kind of stuff, comments that they wanted to say to you written on paper, etc., etc. I was basically told by the department head that maybe dental wasn't for me. And I need to backtrack a little. My grades weren't terrible. They weren't bad, but they also weren't the best that I knew I could do just because of everything I had going on. I wasn't failing, but I wasn't maybe excelling to the degree that maybe I should have. She told me maybe dental wasn't for me. Maybe I should find a new career. Fast forward a few years later, at the time I was working in security. I decided that I was gonna give dental one more go because I knew security, law enforcement, that kind of stuff. It wasn't necessarily for me. I still had dreams of becoming a dental hygienist in mind. So I ended up applying to some private schools. The school that I applied to, for some reason, ended up getting shut down mid-application. So I was on the way to getting accepted. I think I just had to pay the deposit and then I would have been in school. Literally, I got an email saying that the school is being shut down. It's gonna be under new management. They weren't sure when the school was gonna open up again. So from there, I just applied to, like, you know, the next private school. Because with private schools, they have intakes every so often. I think it's April and October, twice a year type of deal. Whereas public schools, it's usually September to, you know, the next September. I wanted a career ASAP, okay? I went to the next school. I think to be accepted high school course-wise, you needed English, I want to say 2 of the sciences, maybe it was chemistry and biology. I'm not 100% sure, but I know biology and English was one of the 2 courses that I needed to get into the school. And then as well, they needed you to write a competency test just to make sure that you were competent in reading and writing in English. So of course I passed and I got accepted into the school. Girl. I don't think anybody really prepared me mentally for what dental hygiene school is like. I'm letting you know from now, if you are just kind of thinking about dental hygiene, make sure you have a strong support system. I'm so happy that I had my mom, even though some days she didn't want to answer the phone because she knew I would be crying, okay? But make sure you have that strong support system. I feel like during dental hygiene school, I really realized who my true friends were and who my real support was, that's for sure. We'll just quickly blurb about what dental hygiene school is like. It's split up into 4 levels. I started in April. And the time is served consecutively. And I'm saying served because it literally felt like a jail sentence, okay? If you think you're gonna have a summer, you know, summer trip, summer whatever, no, it's not happening. During those 2 years that you're in school, don't even think about anything. Don't even think about having a social life unless you're one of those people who can balance, you know, work, life, school, family, etc., then go ahead, girl. But if you think you're gonna have a summer, you're in school during the summer. You couldn't do anything really. And even during winter break, you were off for Christmas, and then after that you were back in school. Christmas and New Year's, and then you were right back in school. Like, there wasn't necessarily any time that you could really have a break. It was consecutive, so just be prepared for that. So yeah, I started in April. There were other brown skinned girlies in the class, so we clicked right away. And Emma and Yvette, I'm talking about you. I couldn't have done this without them, for sure. Those were my sisters from beginning to the end. So I'm so happy that we were able to meet, vibe, cry together. Level 1, again, it's split into 4 levels. So level 1 is basically theory and pre-clinic. So you're learning about just body systems, you're learning about instrumentation, what the instruments are used for, what they do, just a lot of introductory stuff, and also just building the blocks for as the levels go. So level 1 was just a lot, and I think level 1 you also had radiography, which is like the x-ray portion of it, and then you also had radiography lab. So that part was split into 2, but other than that it was mostly theory. Level 2 now is when things start to speed up. You have theory, but as well you don't necessarily have pre-clinic anymore. It's more clinical stuff. So, and I want to say lab, maybe I'm mixing these up, but yeah. So theory, of course, building blocks, you're building upon that theory that you learned in level 1. You're introducing new things in theory and you're learning more in theory. Clinic now turns into partner care. So you are working on your partner to prepare you to work on actual clients. And then as well, lab, you're learning about other things such as placing sealants, learning about fluoride, that's for sure. And then of course the second part of clinic is when you actually start working on actual clients. This is where things got very, very tough, just because you're in class learning theory, and then you also need to be focused on clinic. Clinic is a huge, huge, huge part of school, just because this is where you're getting your credits towards your diploma, of course. And maybe I should backtrack a little. So there are two different types of schools. So you have accredited schools where you learn, basically whatever you learn in clinic goes towards your diploma, and you don't need to do any clinical stuff outside of school because it's accredited school. And non-accredited, I think you have to do some clinical stuff to go towards your diploma outside of school. In clinic, this is where things got a little tough, just because you had to go out and look for your own clients. I know the school basically marketed themselves as, we give you clients. In reality, those are clients that have been seen by the school in the past, and then they were just kind of passed on, just like your dental appointments. If you go every 6 months, they expect you back in 6 months. Same thing with the school. Clients who have been there in the past, say their recall interval was every 6 months, they would return every 6 months. So if in your bin that they give you, sorry, my fan went on. I was talking about clients that were given to you from the school, and that's how they kind of market themselves, as we give you your clients. But in reality, girl, do not rely on those clients. You have to go out and find your own clients to make sure that you're passing these competencies. So really quickly on competencies are, they're things that you have to complete per patient to be able to go on to the next level. So for example, say in level 2, a competency is making sure that you complete 2 cases. One could be a senior, one could be a minimal client. You have attempts where you just attempt to do them. So that could be a perio and like a child. In addition to that, you also have to make sure that you're completing your removals. Each client gets assigned a removal based on their difficulty level. And then as well, you have to make sure you complete a fluoride competency, a polishing competency. There's just many competencies that you have to complete to be able to pass that level. And then in level 3, it's a little bit more. For example, I'll use my brother. I used my brother every single level. He came many, many times. And that's another thing, you have to stress to your clients, this isn't like a one-time dental office type of appointment. They are coming multiple times. So for my brother example, my mom was very fortunate to have benefits, and within her benefits, we were able to go to the dentist every like 4 months if we wanted to. We've been going to the dentist regularly since we were kids, so my brother doesn't have a lot of buildup. He's considered a minimal client, or a DD1. So as the levels go on, DD1, DD2, DD3, DD4, DD2s and DD3s, like they obviously have more buildup, and DD4 is a full-fledged, like they haven't gotten a cleaning in many years. There's a lot of buildup. DD4s, DD3s, those are where you're getting the majority of your points, just because they are worth more in the pointing system, just because they're more difficult. Whereas a patient like my brother isn't as difficult. He's probably maybe a 0.5 to 1 point. I use my brother just because I was able to make a lot of mistakes. I know him. We were able to take it very slow. Whereas patients that I didn't necessarily know, I would want them to come closer to the middle, to the end of the semester, just because I'm more confident, I'm quicker. What ended up happening in level 2 is I ended up failing clinic. And I ended up failing clinic because I couldn't find a perio patient. The thing with perio patients, or patients who have a lot of buildup, is, girl, if they're not going to the dentist, they're not motivated about their oral health, they're not coming. It was really hard to find them and to keep them coming. So I ended up failing that level because of that reason. So I had to redo a level, which pushed me 6 months behind graduation, which honestly is totally fine. I, if anything, learned so much more. My skills were so much better just because I had that extra time. That was basically level 2. Level 3 is the same thing, but there's more cases, more attempts, more competencies to complete, and more removals to get done on top of your theory. And then I think at the time as well, you had to go out into the community and do presentations. So it was very jam-packed. And then level 4 is the easiest level. I think it's only a couple weeks. You just have to complete 7 patients within an hour and make sure you completely pass the patient. One thing I will say about dental hygiene school is, guys, suck up to them teachers, okay? If your teacher likes you and they were in clinic, it was so easy to make sure, you know, they taught you something, but as well, the chances of you passing your patient was pretty high. Whereas if your teacher was having a bad day, they didn't like you, they were just an overall tough teacher, chances of you passing that competency were pretty low. So not only did you have to strategically bring your patients in, you had to make sure you were passing everything and making sure that everything was done on time. Whew, the PTSD is just hitting me right now. So anyways, once you pass hygiene school, you did it, hooray. You now have to pass the board test. The board test is basically a test of everything that you learned throughout hygiene school crammed into one. Because COVID happened when I was in the latter part of hygiene school, I was fortunate enough to have my board test online. Basically, I just had to be in a room by myself in my house. I was able to sit at the computer and I just had a proctor who basically watched me do the test through a webcam, and that was basically it. Then you wait a couple weeks for your results to come or post online, and then you get your certificate in the mail. Once you get that, you're able to register with your college. So I live in Ontario. My college is the CDHO. So you register with them, you have like a passport photo, you fill out just all these forms, you send it into them, you pay your fees, and then you make sure obviously everything is, all your T's are crossed, all your I's are dotted, and then you get your registration with them, and then you pay another fee. Girl, the fees were crazy. You pay a fee to write the board test, you pay a fee to register with the board, you pay a fee to register with another organization or association to make sure that you have your liability, so your insurance, basically your liability insurance. And once you have all of that, you're free to practice. So from there, I ended up working full-time at an office. I got in with another office, so the office that you probably have seen in my vlogs, if you watch my vlogs, of course. And then right now, as you guys know, if you follow me on Instagram, I ended up leaving that office. I'm still really sad about it because I love that office. But right now I'm working in pediatrics. That's pretty much my hygiene journey. I left a lot of details out, but if you guys care to hear more, just let me know down below. We can definitely make a part 2 to this. But otherwise, that's how I became a dental hygienist here in Ontario, Canada. So if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them down below. I want to see who else is a dental hygienist who has seen this video. I find there's not a lot of people of color in the hygiene field. I'm meeting so many people though through Instagram who are getting into the field or who have a lot of questions, and I'm so happy that we're being represented in this field now. It is just very exciting to see a lot of us here, okay? We are here, and I love seeing patients who are people of color who are just kind of like, wow, I've never had, like, you know, a hygienist who is like me. So that's also very exciting. I find there is a lot of the older generation who are kind of shocked by me. Like when I go get them from the waiting room, they're just like, are you old enough to be doing this? Like, no sir, I'm 12 years old. Otherwise, overall, I love the career. School is not like the actual career. School is very stressful, whereas the career makes me very, very happy. So I'm just very happy that I'm blessed with this opportunity. First and foremost, I want to thank God. Of course, I couldn't have done this without him. Looking back, a lot of the things that were aligned were because of him. I am so, so grateful that I have a praying mom and that God really hears you. Of course, my family, my mom, my brother, my sister. I want to thank Emma and Yvette, okay? And just a lot of people I met on the way. Michelle, Mina, Kenneth. Michelle is no longer working in hygiene, but she is a real estate agent. So if you guys are looking for a house, hit on my girl. Honorable mention, honestly, will be Dahlia. I'm not too sure if she even watches any of these videos, but I know when I needed patience and I just threw it out there, like, you know, I'm looking for this girl came through for me. So Dahlia, I did not forget you, of course. Thank you so much, and what you did honestly meant so much to me. And of course, Miss Mattressing. Miss Mattressing was a clinical teacher at school, and then she ended up having a baby, so she wasn't necessarily teaching anymore, but she is now. Her Instagram is Mouthbox, so I'll probably put it somewhere up here on the screen. She posts a lot of informational content, a lot of, you know, just paving the way for people of color in this field. So lots of educational tips there. And that is about it. So thank you so much for watching this video, guys. I am so thankful that you guys even want to hear from me, first of all, okay? Until next time, see you later. Enjoy your day, okay?